Hello and welcome. My name is Cory Ahonen, and I'm the Deputy Director of Health and Community Services for Financial and Veterans Services. Since 2018, I've been the Veterans Services Officer for the town of Easton, and during a recent reorganization in our department, I became the Deputy Director for Financial and Veterans Services. Under this new role, I provide services to veterans as well as any resident needing financial assistance to maintain their housing, utilities, employment, and food security. Through referrals to outside agencies, my office will work with residents and their families to determine individual needs and program eligibility. The purpose of this program is to provide valuable information to our veterans about the benefits they have earned through service to our country. Over the next few segments, you will see informational interviews with subject matter experts on VA healthcare, VA education benefits, vet centers, VA home loans, and other service providers in the veteran community. Let's begin by discussing some local supportive services available to our veterans. What is a Veteran Service Officer? A Veteran Service Officer, or a VSO, is a municipal employee that provides assistance to veterans and families regarding federal, state, and local benefits. The VSO is an advocate for veterans in the community. The VSO's job is to help other veterans in the community learn about, apply, and in some cases, receive benefits. Every VSO is a veteran. To be defined as a veteran under the Massachusetts General Law, a person is required to either have 180 days of active duty service and be discharged or released under honorable conditions, or have 90 days of active duty service, 1 day of which is during wartime, and be discharged or released under honorable conditions, except for Vietnam I, which requires 180 days of active duty services. Any questions on this can be directed to my office. Mostly can be answered on your discharge documents, whether that be a Dd214 or NGB-22 for National Guard. Next, we'll discuss some monetary benefits and assistance. VA compensation. This is VA disability compensation, and it ranges from $152.65 per month to $3,517 per month, excluding what you will receive for dependents, children, and dependent parents. VA compensation, disability compensation is a compensation program where veterans can be evaluated for injuries or medical conditions sustained during service that can be connected to their military service, and they will be compensated for those through this program. Now, along with the VA compensation comes a lot of other benefits, including state annuities, property tax exemptions, and a variety of other benefits. But for now, to keep it simple here, we will just discuss the basic overview. VA pension is a needs-based, means-tested program for lower income asset eligible individuals, and is also sometimes known as the non-service connected pension. It's also based on age and time of service. There are also property tax exemptions for veterans, blind veterans, service-connected disabled, 10% to 100%, and they range in as they are specific to each community. The state minimums are $400 for a 10% service-connected disabled veteran to receive off their property tax, all the way up to a full property tax exemption. In the town of Easton, we recently passed the Massachusetts General Law, Section 22F, which Section 22F exempts a full property tax for a Gold Star parents residents in the town of Easton. There are also additional benefits, special monthly compensation, aid and attendance. Aid and attendance is when a veteran may need special assistance in completing activities of daily living, such as grooming, getting dressed, handling medications, bathing, preparing meals, and other essential activities of daily living. This benefit can add an extension to either the 100% VA rating or the VA pension eligible individual. Those are the two ways that you would be available, or you would have aid and attendance available to you, is if you are a 100% rated veteran, or a VA pension eligible veteran or surviving spouse. The surviving spouse can also receive the aid and attendance as well. Additionally, there is dependency and indemnity compensation, which is for surviving spouses of service-connected death veterans, right? So a veteran who died due to a service-connected disability, or a veteran who died on active duty, the surviving spouse will receive this dependency and indemnity compensation. At that point, they are also eligible for the Massachusetts state annuity, which I will get into momentarily, as well as some other benefits with the property tax exemptions. MGL Chapter 115 is a needs-based, means-tested income assistance program, and the current rates for this year are income for a single person below $2,147, and if you are a married couple, it's your income monthly before taxes must be $2,904 or less, and assets below $8,400 for a single person and below $16,600 for a married couple. Common question with this on the assets is certain things do count as assets. Any cash, savings accounts, checking accounts, stocks, bonds, trusts, IRAs, a second vehicle only. So your home and your primary vehicle do not count as assets. So again, any questions on this can be directed to your Veteran Services Officer. They're the ones who conduct the initial application for all these benefits, especially this Chapter 115, being that it's a town-based benefit and it is reimbursed by 75% each year if done correctly by the towns. The state reimburses that 75% each year. Next, we have the Massachusetts state annuity, which I touched upon in the dependency and indemnity compensation. To be eligible for the Massachusetts state annuity for veterans, you must have that 100% permanent and total rating as a veteran, or surviving spouse of a 100% permanent and total veteran who held that rating for 10 or more years. In addition, if the veteran died of a service-connected disability, the spouse is also eligible to apply. Gold Star parents are also eligible to apply on an individual basis. So if there are two living parents of that veteran who passed away on active duty, making them Gold Star parents, each one is eligible to apply. And as that benefit looks right now, it is $1,000 tax-free given through that annuity, which is twice a year, once in February and once in August, a total of $2,000 a year tax-free on top of what our veterans and surviving spouses receive to be eligible. Next, we have the VA home loan, which we go into great detail in our VA home loan segment. I will save the details for that for our expert. And we also have the Easton Veterans Discretionary Fund here in Easton. It's a donation assistance fund. It is 100% donation driven. We have quite a bit of donations come in and out of that account each year. It goes to provide items necessary for daily living and to ensure the dignity and independence of our veterans in the town of Easton. That fund, a couple changes that we made that are important to note. Upon my taking over the Veterans Department, we decided that the traditional definition of a veteran, which I talked about in the last slide, was not maybe not the best definition to follow for this fund. The aim of this fund is to help anyone who needs the most help, and a lot of times we find that those are those folks who don't meet that criteria and they don't have any other benefits. So we decided to open our Easton Veterans Discretionary Fund to adopt a local definition of anyone who's ever served, anyone who's ever worn the uniform for one day or more, If you do not have a dishonorable discharge, you are eligible to seek assistance through this directly through my office. Next, we assist with the Welcome Home Bonus. This is, the requirements are to be a Massachusetts resident at time of entry. There are bonuses for each era served. So if you did not receive your bonus, say in Vietnam when you got home, please reach out to my office or reach out to your veteran service officer to get that information. They can help you determine whether you have received that or not and how you can apply. More recently, we have our welcome home bonuses for our returning veterans from Iraq and Afghanistan. Those are some of the larger welcome home bonuses. We see some folks receive $1,000 for their first deployment and $500 for any subsequent deployment. There are multiple factors that determine how much money you'll receive, and that is determined by your Dd214, where you served. You can use citations from medals you received, commendation medals that say where you were, how long you were there, and your veteran service officer can help you apply and provide the documentation that will prove that location. On the next slide, we'll discuss education and career counseling benefits. So, first of all, you have your Chapter 30 Montgomery GI Bill. That is payment directly to the individual, and then tuition and fees are mostly covered. Basically, the individual will get their money directly deposited to them, and they will do the disbursement to their institution of higher education. And again, that pays most of the bills to in-state school for in-state tuition. You get into some of your more expensive schools, you may find that you are not receiving the full amount to pay that tuition and fees. It's all program dependent. Then you have the Chapter 1606 Montgomery GI Bill. This is the Reserve Education Benefit, and that provides a monthly stipend to the individual student. They are probably currently serving in the reserve on a 6x2 contract, and they're receiving this benefit. It amounts to, in the hundreds, probably about $500-600 a month. They report to the school that they are attending at a full-time basis. If they're attending at a part-time basis, that amount is prorated. And I would urge you to please see your VA education counselor at your institution, your school or university, and they will be able to tell you how much you can expect for each individual situation. Next, we have a Chapter 31 VR&E program. They recently changed their name from Vocational Rehab to VR&E, Veterans Readiness and Employment. And this benefit will cover tuition and fees, supplies, books, parking fee, counseling, and basically anything that is needed by the veteran for them to be successful and continue in school. The only thing they won't pay for are things that they don't directly relate to your attendance at the school or your education goals or your career goals. That's really, the program is focused around career. And again, we get into these benefits deep detail in our VA education benefits segment. So next we have the Chapter 33 Post 9/11 GI Bill. This benefit covers tuition, fees, BAH, book stipend. BAH is a basic allowance for housing. It's based off the zip code of the school, so not the zip code where you live. It is the zip code of the school. And then the tuition and fees are paid directly to the school. Now, if the tuition and fees exceeds the amount, which in Massachusetts is would be based off the most expensive state school, which if it hasn't changed, that was UMass Amherst. And if the tuition and fee amounts for your school exceed that amount, that of the most expensive state school, there is the Yellow Ribbon program, which can help bridge that gap. Say if you attend a private university that is more expensive than that cap. You may only transfer this benefit to dependents while you're still on active duty. That's a common misconception that you can transfer this after the fact, or you could transfer it to your grandchildren. Unfortunately, it's only transferable to your direct dependents, your spouse, children, stepchildren in some cases. but that needs to be done while you're still on active duty, and we'll go into some fine detail about that during our education segment. Chapter 35, Dependents Education Assistance. This provides roughly $1,300 a month to a full-time student. This is usually, it's always a dependent of a veteran, but in some off cases that dependent could also be a veteran themselves. So, you may only use one of these federal benefits at a time. This particular benefit is similar to the stipend program in the Chapter 1606 Montgomery GI Bill on a larger scale. These folks receive a $1,300 roughly a month. That number seems to go up each year. And it is to the dependents of 100% permanently and totally disabled sponsor, which would be a veteran. And that's for each of their dependents. So say a veteran who's 100% permanent in total, they have 10 dependents. Well, each one of those gets their own Chapter 35 benefits to use. It is limited to the number of months, and it's usually enough to complete the degree and in a traditional program. And it's roughly, like I said, $1,300 a month, that number changing each year. And those students, those dependents are urged to contact their VA education representative at their institution to apply and use this benefit each semester. Additionally, heavy on the career counseling here, we have Mass Hire Career Center. They got their DVOPS, unemployment services, resume services. They can help you, get connected to career resources and find a good connection for you coming out of the military to, what may be a good fit for you if you're looking to enter the workforce directly. Again, resources to help get yourself prepared for that as well. Contact those folks with the state. Next, we will discuss medical assistance for veterans. So, VA health care is available to all veterans who are granted a discharge under honorable conditions. This includes the general under honorable conditions. That's another common misconception. A lot of veterans also get upgraded for VA healthcare purposes only. So this is also provided that they meet financial criteria or have a service-connected disability. It's also available for all global war on terrorism veterans who have been discharged during the past 5 years. So you can attend your first VA appointment and then make sure you follow up within those 5 years and you will still be covered. We discuss the VA also in great detail during another segment as well, and you'll be able to hear much more about that. So some other benefits and services locally that are offered. Out of my office, we offer flags and markers, so you can see them in the picture here, the picture on the left. They're the grave flags, and they fit into the markers, which we have markers for each conflict from the Civil War all the way to current global war on terror, OEF, OIF. And then we also have plain U.S. veteran markers for those who may be unsure which category they fit into or which category their loved one fit into. We give the U.S. veteran, it's a beautiful marker. They're made of heavy bronze. And the markers tend to last quite a while, but the flags get replaced every year in May before Memorial Day. My office, VFW commander, Legion commander, and many of their members, along with local students, Easton Public School students come out, and there's about 40 to 50 of us go out and we do all 1,300 flags get replaced before Memorial Day so their loved ones can go honor their veteran at their grave site. Another benefit that's available is this burial at a national cemetery. Now, veterans are afforded this burial at no cost. They are given a gravestone, a flat gravestone, or another gravestone of their choosing, as long as it's accepted by the cemetery in which they are buried. The National Cemetery has the flat markers, and they're able to put the veteran's name, dates of service, date of birth, date of death, branch of service, any special medals or citations received. They can fit quite a few characters on there. It's a pretty great service, and once those are ordered, they're usually sent about 3 to 4 months, and they get installed The National Cemetery has a quicker timeline on that, and they do direct install and handle all that directly. But those stones are also available for private cemeteries as well. They are coordinated through the cemetery directors, funeral directors, and the families themselves on the installation. To receive military honors at a funeral, the first step is always to speak with your funeral director. They usually contact the National Guard units. If it's Air Force or Army, they'll contact the other branches as they're able. And they also have resources with the Patriot Riders and other organizations that provide honors for veterans at a funeral, whether it's an escort from the funeral home to the cemetery. They do some pretty amazing things, and you see some pretty amazing tributes to our veterans by these organizations. The VFW and American Legion in town, I have a segment coming up shortly where we meet with both commanders separately, and they discuss what their organizations do in our community, how we work together with them, and what they do to provide support to the community at large. We have many other service organizations and nonprofits locally that we lean on and we lend a hand to as well. Service organizations that assist financially, they assist with mental health treatment, they offer free programs for veterans. It's amazing, you name it, and it's out there. And there's a lot of services for veterans out there in the nonprofit world. Another service that we provide advice on is getting that veteran's annotation on your license or getting a veteran's ID card. The veteran annotation on the license, that's done obviously through the Registry of Motor Vehicles, and the ID cards are done through your local military bases. If you have that 100% service-connected disability and you are eligible, or you are a spouse who's eligible, those are done at those specific duty stations, active duty ID card locations. There are various locations across the state. They make their own appointments and their own hours, so please contact them directly. There's one at Joint Base Cape Cod, Hanscom Air Force Base. There are other locations as well that can be found on their website. I also handle Dd214 requests through my office. We just need some basic information: Social Security number, date of birth, the veteran's name, dates served, and we are able to, in most cases, get that Dd214 either through state archives or national archives. State is a pretty instant request, and the National Archives takes, lately it's been taking upwards to 6 months or more. Something to also be on the lookout is that hiring preference for military or time buyback for local, state, and federal government jobs. Currently, there are hiring preferences all over for military veterans in the private, nonprofit, and public sector jobs, especially your federal jobs. They're going to have that hiring preference at 10-point, 30-point, based off of your service-connected disability and veteran status. Now, the military buyback time, that's another one that is commonly requested, is in local and state government, veterans can buy back 4 years of their active duty time. Now, federal government, they can buy back all of their government time, or all of their federal service through the armed forces service that they completed. They can apply that to their federal government job or their state and local government job, which is pretty amazing. They will spend some money buying that back, but it results in an earlier retirement date, or a higher retirement pay, or however you work it out with your retirement board, whether it's your local and state or the federal government. It can definitely benefit you to look into buying back that time. And I'd like to just end this summary with discussing our veterans' greatest needs. So, it's always individualized care. Veterans are people too, and they need the same things everyone else needs, right? So I like to, when we're looking at a problem, rather than say, oh, it's a veteran problem, or it's this type of person problem, it's a problem, right? And a lot of the similar solutions we use for other situations can be used to help veterans as well. you know, that's not to say that there aren't specific cases where veterans do need that individualized special treatment, you know, that is outside of the norm. But for the most part, I think the greatest needs are just taking that extra time to get the whole story and show that you care. Whole health treatment is huge, you know, that mind, body, spirit. You know, if you got a problem for each one of those things, there's a solution in each one of those categories as well. And the continuity and follow through of the service providers, that's huge. So, you know, to start the process with a veteran if they're having an issue is one thing, but to follow up and follow through, that means, you know, that can mean a world of difference to that person who's going through that tough time. Or, you know, sometimes what we need is that follow up to keep us on the right track and keep us on the path to getting a problem resolved. Community support is another huge one. It's something we see a lot here in Easton. We see a lot of community members show up to our Veterans Day or Memorial Day parades. Community members show up to reflag the graves, like I had mentioned. Community support goes without saying is one of the biggest needs that our veterans have when they're coming home, is to know that they're welcomed and supported, and that they can fit back into society in their own way. And awareness and knowledge of what's available. You know, outreach is one of my most difficult pieces of my job, is making sure everybody hears what they need to hear, right? So the responsibility is really on all of us to spread the word for anything that can help. Word of mouth is probably one of my best ways of getting resources out to those who the resources are available to. It's amazing the amount of people I hear, they call me, they say, oh, my neighbor mentioned you, and you know, wanted to come see what was available, or I saw this newsletter, or I saw this email or this post on social media. You know, so there's not one size fits all when it comes to outreach. We need to have outreach across the board. So just awareness and knowledge of what is out there is number one, and it helps me do my job. So, you know, and I'd like to just thank all of our Eastern residents for helping me to provide the support that I am able to our veterans, whether it's through, you know, financial assistance, or just being there for them to hear, or, you know, showing up to a Veterans Day ceremony or Memorial Day ceremony. I couldn't do it without the support of the community. So I speak for all veterans when I say thank you for your support. And we thank all our veterans for their service. All right, so our next guest, we have Steve Shaw. He's the commander of the VFW, Post 2547 here in Easton. And we're grateful to have Steve here. He's been the commander for almost 2 years now. He took over command during the pandemic, which has been interesting to say the least. He made quite a few changes with the post during that time. And he's a U.S. Army veteran, retired, 35 years he served in the Army. So he also participates in our patriotic ceremonies in town. Myself, Steve, and the Legion Commander Teresa plan the patriotic ceremonies, parades. And we thank you, Steve, for being here with us today to discuss the VFW, all the good things you guys are doing.
Thanks for inviting me, Cory.
Absolutely. So if you could, just tell us a little bit about your military service and background.
Oh, well, geez, that could take a long time, but I'll try to keep it short. 35 years, and it started in '74. Yeah. Like most guys joining, wanted to make a change to the life I was leading, you know, as just a kid. And I first joined in '74, but I took a break in about 1982 for a few years, and I went back in because I missed it. So I went back in and finished up the rest of that 35 years.
Wow.
So put in 3 deployments in the meantime. It was all aviation, helicopter maintenance and things like that type of unit.
Great.
And, but I enjoyed it. I traveled a lot, to say the least, even without the wars. So, but yeah, it was a great career. I just say it was a great career. I enjoyed it. Yeah. I enjoyed the challenge that it gave me.
I hope so. I hope you enjoyed
definitely
it.
Enjoyed the challenge it gave me.
35 years is a long time to serve. So
it didn't make all this hair white, but yeah, it was a challenge. It was a challenge.
So where were you deployed? Where did you serve?
Well, I served in Kuwait, Iraq, and Afghanistan. Those are the 3 deployments that we basically had. Yeah, and so so it's I seem to have got them all in. Yeah. You know what I mean? All the recent ones, anyways. You know, and I joined, like I say, '74 was right after Vietnam, And even at that point, the Army was at a low ebb at that point when I
Yeah.
joined, because of all the turmoil of Vietnam and the hard feelings back then. But
Yeah.
but I enjoyed. I can't look back and say, I wish I didn't do it. I'm glad I did it.
No, I hear you. Best thing
I'm
I
glad
ever
I
did
did
was
it.
join the
I'm glad I
military
did it.
myself.
I'm glad I
Yeah.
did it. Yeah,
Yeah.
A farm boy, right here. I grew up on a dairy farm, right over in Taunton. So
Nice.
big change of life.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Best
big
way to
change
see
of
the
life.
world,
Oh
right?
yeah, you got to see plenty. And being in aviation, got to even see more than most. I think
bet.
because everywhere you went, you were flying or whatever. It was very nice. Yeah.
The aerial view.
The aerial view. Yeah,
That's
yeah. It's
awesome.
funny. You see the drones today, and that's
yeah.
that's what it looks like when I'm looking out my window.
Well,
You
some
know,
of those
yeah, yeah.
drones too. I remember for myself doing flight line security in the Air Force. I see some of these drones are. You look at those things; they have a 60-foot wingspan. You think,
yeah.
there's no one in that.
Right,
and
right,
that thing's
yeah.
flying remote control. That's
Right,
pretty amazing.
yeah,
So,
yeah, it is, yeah. So,
so you definitely meet your qualification to be a VFW member.
yeah, I
and the
squeaked
commander.
in there.
Yeah,
I squeaked under the wire there, I guess.
So what is required to become a member of the VFW?
Well, basically, you had to have served in some status in Veterans of Foreign Wars, what VFW stands
Okay.
for.
Yep.
So it's not just being a veteran, but a veteran of foreign wars.
Right.
And when we get that documentation, it gets reviewed and verified, to make sure there's no stolen valor or anything
Sure,
like that.
yeah.
Because, there's a lot of benefits of being in the Veterans of Foreign
Yeah.
War. But so that's basically what it takes.
So you can prove that through like campaign medal.
Campaign
or
medals,
citations.
your honorable discharge.
Yep.
Where that paper is called the Dd214.
Yeah.
It'll have your awards on there and what you've done, basically. It has your career
Okay.
on a couple of pieces of paper, where you've been deployed and what times.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And if someone thinks they meet that criteria and they want to join, they just contact the VFW post?
Sure,
and
just
go
come on
from
in.
there? Okay,
Contact the VFW post and talk to just about anyone there. They'll be glad to try to get you to sign up. And,
Awesome.
we turn in the paperwork. And I just had somebody in Easton 2 months ago. He joined, and he was in Vietnam.
Yep.
And he just joined now.
That's
and
awesome.
so, yeah, he was a
Great.
Vietnam vet, and he just joined now. So
That's who you
yeah.
want, is the people who, they've
Right,
had
right.
this available to them and they
Right,
don't,
right. Well,
they just find
right.
out. So that's good.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
So-
great. The VFW is known to most, it's on 61 Rockland Street. It may be known to most as, the canteen or the hall rental space.
Oh, the V. There's the
yeah.
other V. Yeah, right. But yeah, so we have the canteen, and we have a hall rental that's open to the public
Yeah.
to rent. And we just refurbishing all this since the pandemic. We took that downtime that we had.
Yeah, tell us a bit about
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
What kind of work's been going on in there?
Well, we revamped the whole rental hall. It's been
Nice.
revamped.
Yeah, I've seen the paint. I know it's been painted and
it's been
all sorts of
painted. The
stuff.
ceilings, the lights have been changed. The same with the canteen area. We've opened up a kitchen now, so you can
Great.
go in there and you can eat. Also, we have a small menu, but yeah, you
No,
can
it's
eat
a
there.
pretty
Right,
impressive kitchen, though.
Right, it is. Yeah. It's and then downstairs we have a military museum that we try to revamp. Which
Yeah.
has a lot of stuff from World War II on. A lot of the veterans brought back.
Yeah.
And we're putting those on display, trying to get those on displays, get that room all fixed up. And that'll be another meeting room of its own, like a meeting room.
Great.
And then there's we got another room down there that's going to be a veterans only room. That veterans only
Like
room.
a lounge type.
It's a lounge, right?
Yeah.
So in case the noise is too loud upstairs or there's a function and you want to watch the football game downstairs, you'll be able to watch the football game, but that'll be veterans only,
Nice.
whether veterans of foreign war or not, just a veteran. You just have to, it's going to be veterans only. We let anybody come in. It's not
Yeah.
that we restrict it. We
No,
don't
that's
restrict
good.
it. Yeah, it's not restricted. Yeah.
So basically, anybody who supports the cause, supports
Anybody
the
that supports the
mission.
cause, I used to tell people, when I deployed, my family was deployed with me,
Yeah.
whether they left or not. They served too.
Absolutely.
Everyone, the kids, the wife, the family, they all serve.
Yeah.
They all suffer.
Right, 'cause without their
they all
support.
suffer and without their support. So I consider them veterans just as much as I am.
Yeah.
They're a veteran because I was gone, and that makes a big difference on the family when that happens. Yeah.
So that brings up a good point. You allow family members, even general members of the community to come,
anyone's-
they can
right.
come get a drink, get
Absolutely.
a bite to eat.
Absolutely. It's not
yeah.
an exclusive club to enter and
Right.
enjoy what the club is.
To use the facility.
Right, yeah. There's
But to be a member of
other
the
things that become a
organization.
membership. There's other things that come with a membership.
Sure.
But other than that, no. If you want to come on in and
Yeah.
see the place and check out the hall that you might want to rent, because the hall's it's open rental. I mean, so anybody rent it to anybody.
For functions,
For
or
functions,
birthday parties,
30th
graduation parties,
right,
whatever,
right? Yeah, it's a function hall.
Yeah.
And we can hold 100 in there. So it's a good size
Nice.
function hall. Not
Oh,
real
yeah,
big.
no.
So it can be, I think the best ones are about 50 to 70 people. It's comfortable. Sometimes you get 100. It's a little crowded, but it's we got plenty of seating when we need it. We can adjust it. We get plenty of tables, tables in and out or whatever you need. So.
I've been to a few meals and gatherings after the parades and things like that in years past when we could do things like that.
Right.
And it's a great function hall. There's a big wheelchair ramp out one side of the door. Right. The parking lot's huge. You can fit plenty of cars.
Oh yeah.
So that's great, and it kind of segues into the money that's taken in from the business side, right? It goes back to support the organization and do.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. A lot of it's supporting obviously the renovations we made, but we have a Veterans Relief Fund.
Oh yeah.
We have we give scholarships out. We give scholarships out for there's programs, Patriot Pen and Voice of Democracy. These are scholarships not only to high school kids. They submit their essays and stuff like that, and it can turn out to be a lot of money, and that's actually a nationwide, so they can even continue to get more.
Wow.
Yeah. So the scholarship money can get up there pretty high as those. I submit who on ours. I submit that to the district. The district
to the next level.
To the next level. But so if you happen to be in Easton and then we select and you get the money from us, you still might have more to come because it goes up. It goes up the ladder. It goes up the ladder.
And then from there and there.
Right.
That's great.
So, yeah.
So that's awesome. And I know on the Veterans Relief Fund, I know, I have certain funds I use as the VSO in town, and other resources I combine from nonprofits, other local organizations. So it's great to you guys are another tool in my corner as well.
We're kind of like on the front line, because we'll know some of these veterans. And let's say we know a guy, he's hit hard times, and maybe he needs help with his electric bill. Yeah. Maybe he needs assistance to get something done.
Food on the table.
Because we'll know him, that sort of thing. So that's what our relief fund's for. It's really just right here, basically, for the members right around our post.
That's
what
awesome.
the relief fund's.
That's great. And I've called on you guys and as well as the Legion similarly to support different programs where I have a situation where there's not a specific funding source for that.
Right.
Call on you guys.
Right.
You guys pick up. You foot the bill and make sure it happens. As long as it's within what you're willing to do. So I appreciate you doing that, and I know the veterans appreciate having these strong organizations. Too. So other than the hall rental and the canteen and all that, you guys offer, what kind of food items do you guys offer?
Oh, well, we have the typical stuff, hot dogs, hamburgers, but we have a nice, a cheese steak sandwich.
Nice.
We have a lot of nice stuff it's all done by volunteers.
I heard some of the guys talking about is it a first responder night?
Yeah, we also started a first responder night. It's on the night that we're normally closed.
Oh, cool.
So a first responder night is basically so that the first responders in town, your policemen, your firemen, maybe your ambulance drivers, your first responders, have a place that they can go, just like the veterans have a place to go, because many of those guys are veterans.
Yeah.
And because I've learned that people have a tendency to serve their whole life. They'll come home back to the community, and now they serve. So so some of them are policemen, some of them are your firemen, and your nurses and your ambulance drivers. A lot of them have served.
Oh yeah.
And so this way here, they have a place they can go and they can share their experiences with their group, but it also lets them know that we appreciate what they do. We trying to be part of the community because it's not an enclosed private club in that sense.
Let them unwind with one another rather than feel like they're.
So and then that
relax.
way and they can have their little place to go and one night a week and enjoy it, and one night a week and that way it's just they're hanging around with their buddies, but it gives them a place on a night that we're normally closed.
That's awesome.
So
I think that's a good night to offer. That's really nice. So what time and day does the actual meeting where the post gets together and the voting members and all that meet together?
Well, we meet 6:30, the third Wednesday every month, and that's our official meeting.
Okay.
Of course, there's a lot of communication in between.
Yep.
Sometimes there's a meeting that's required. You have to send out messages to get all the members there to vote on certain things. Other things, it's just who shows up. We have like our command staff type thing, and a lot of things get decided there. But then you have your meeting for the general public,
regular business,
and if it's something major, you have to try to get everybody involved. And send out the. But so that's what we do. But there's just so much communication during the month, anyways. it's a constant flow. It's not like, it's a constant flow.
Yep. No, I get a lot of emails. As a member myself, I get a lot of emails. We get funeral notices, and members will show up in full force. And I've seen your members out at funerals in the community. We recently had a gentleman, Russ Goldrup, who drove for the Council on Aging at my building. He was actually he was in the Army back in Vietnam, Special Forces. Pretty outstanding military career this guy had, and we never knew a bit about it. We knew he was in the Army, and
that's a shame because we have so many members. We have, I think, 97 members, and a lot of those members in the mid-70s and above, so we don't see them anymore. No, we don't know them.
Yeah, especially these past couple of years.
Right, these past couple of years, and we're losing them, obviously, like the rest of the country, in an alarming rate, but that's the way it goes. But it's great that they started this, and they've kept it going, and the torch gets passed, and so there's some traditions we try to hang on to, it seems to be working out. I mean, we've kind of turned the corner because the place almost collapsed.
Yeah.
Like a lot of places during the pandemic, too. A lot of it was just basic collapse, but we brought it back from the dead, basically, and raised it back up.
I think the VFW and the Legion type service organizations with veterans are maybe struggling with their membership with the younger generations, and it's tough to identify what's...
I believe, my own personal belief is it could be the Elks, any social club, Portuguese Civics Club. The younger generation doesn't join social clubs. It's just not what's in social media. It seems to be the way that they do all their things these days. So it's hard. The one advantage we have is these veterans have that in common.
Right.
Even the younger veterans have that in common with the older generation. So we have that. Maybe it's probably an advantage to try to get members where it's probably a big advantage for us than some other organizations. Because they do have that shared experience of being in the military, no matter what branch it is. There's a lot of commonality between the services when it comes to your lifestyle and what you went through.
Common thread.
That's a common thread.
It holds us all together.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, as a young person, as a younger veteran, newer generation veteran, whatever you want to call it, I wish I had the answer. I don't, because outreach is tough for me too. I outreach to the different generations of veterans for the services I offer in my office, and it's a constant struggle to reach. You got to be creative. You got to keep moving, and I like what you guys are doing over there. And I see you doing those things and making the changes. Because that's all we can do at the end of the day is just try to reach everybody. So that's great. And I think I want to kind of wrap up by asking you, what does it mean to be the commander of the VFW?
Oh, my goodness.
It's a big question, sorry.
Well, obviously it's a challenge because, there's a financial challenge. There's a challenge of getting the volunteers coming there to do things, stuff like that. But, it's kind of still what I did in the military. I had a leadership role there. And you kind of learn to love the chaos sometimes. It kind of becomes your lifestyle. So you're like, okay, we got a problem, let's fix it. That's just kind of how it is. Just kind of keep going, you know what I mean? Take the next step, that's all. And, and you have a lot of good laughs in between sometimes. So it's just, I guess you're part of something. And I think that's the big thing. You're part of something. And I think that's what makes the difference, because I think everybody there feels like they're part of something. That's what gives them back when they come back. Because when they're away from their families, it's a whole totally different. They're away from their sisters, their brothers, their mother and father, and they're with their group. Well, you come to a place like this, we all got that same experience. We were away, and it was just like a different society. The military is like a different society on its own, and the shared experiences, that's where the commonality comes through, and the shared blood of
like-minded
and stuff like that.
Work together to
right. And so I normally don't have any problem getting volunteers when I need to get something done. I'll say, hey guys, this has got to get done, and it gets done.
No, it's great.
And it's all volunteers. And who can say that today that runs a business?
Right.
Who can say that runs a business? I got all volunteers. So you got to give them all this credit, and it's been that way since the VFW is pretty much open. I mean, it's all volunteers that keep these things going. And so guys standing up for their brother and helping their brother out to whatever, and that's just, you got to say that. And but that's what makes it work. I mean, definitely that's what makes it work. And
No, the VFW is great. I mean, I've learned a lot from our past commander Al Smart. Great service to the town. Taught me a lot about the needs of the town and the veterans. And you know, now having you as the commander, it's just a great opportunity for us to keep building on, you know, what it means to be a member of the VFW, what it means to, you know, provide support here in Easton to our veterans.
Well, no, it's a joy for us to do it, really. I mean, you know, it's like every joy, it's still work, so it works, work.
Yeah.
But overall, you know, when you see the change and you see that it was declining and now it's slowly building the other way,
It's a good feeling.
everyone takes a lot of pride in that, right?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Because it's the blood, sweat, and tears of a lot of people there, and most of those blood, sweat, and tears are the volunteers. That's why anyone's welcome to come in, because most of my people that work there, I should say volunteer there, they're not veterans.
Right.
They're just people that want to pitch in and help out. And,
and support the mission.
It's just amazing, really. Just
It is
amazing.
amazing.
It is amazing, yeah. It's amazing how a little place like that can keep getting enough volunteers to keep it open and keep it going, just for the flag is what we say. It's for the flag.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming on today. And
Well, thanks for having me, Corey. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Thank you for your
I'd like to
service,
get the
and
word
thanks
out
for-
there that you know that we're alive and well.
Absolutely.
And things are going good, and the hall rental's all done. It looks nice. I think last time it was done was probably 30, 40 years ago. So it really does look. It's been updated quite a bit. It was pretty dated.
That's awesome.
So it's changed quite a bit. So
Great.
and we're hoping that word spreads, and you know, we can rent that out, and so more people can share in that experience.
Yeah,
a nice place to go.
So if you want to learn more about VFW, becoming a member, they meet on the third Wednesday of each
Wednesday
month.
and you can stop by any time, anyways.
61 Rockland
61
Street in
Rockland,
Northeastern.
Right.
You'll you know, the building stands out, so you'll notice it.
Yeah. Anytime after 3. We open up at 3 in the afternoon.
Okay.
We're basically open, Wednesday through Saturdays, and right now Sunday for football, and
Nice.
And that's what we're open right now for. And of course Tuesday's the first responders. So any first responders from any other town, it's open to them. It's just open to first responder. You're a guest of the commander that night.
definitely recommend
It's a guest
check
of the
that out.
commander that night. Yeah, you're a guest
great.
of you're my guest that night. That's what we're doing for the first responders.
That's great.
So, yeah.
Good time for that.
Right,
so.
right.
All right. Well, thank you so much
All
for
right.
being here today. We appreciate you coming on.
All right, Corey.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thanks.
All right.
Thank you for tuning in and learning about the amazing benefits that are available to our veterans. If you have any specific questions regarding your eligibility, please reach out to your Veteran Services Officer located in your town or city hall. If you live in Easton, please reach out to me, and I'd be glad to help. I can be reached by email at cahonen@easton.ma.us or by telephone at 508-230-0690. Also, be sure to check out the other videos in this series that outline numerous other benefits that are available to our veterans. As always, thank you for your support and continued service to our veterans.